Apologies for absence. Councillor Churchill.
Thank you, Chairman. Councillor Southerings.
Thank you, Chair. Councillors McKay and Cross.
Thank you. Item 2 on our agenda. Do we have any declarations of interest? Thank you. Moving on to item 3, the minutes of the meeting held on the 9th of April 2015. Are they agreed as an accurate record? Item 4, communications from me. My original draft began something like, regrets, I've had a few, but then again too few to mention, but I discarded that after several redrafts. Good evening. I would like to welcome, and in some cases welcome back, Shona Johnson, Bob Davis, John Strachan, Clive Souter, and Karen Klempner. I would like to congratulate those councillors that were re-elected and commiserate with all the candidates that were not successful. I would also like to congratulate Robert Halford for his election as Harlow's MP and to commiserate with his opponents. I wish to start with a message of humility. When I accepted the honour of being your chair, I said that I expected our behaviour to be an exemplar to others, and I am grateful that you have all demonstrated that throughout the year. I truly believe that likewise, every time I have worn this chain, I have conducted myself with the dignity and respect that you would expect. It has become obvious to me that the chair's chain is a bit like Superman's emblem. People see it even when you're not wearing it. I've tried to be clear when I'm speaking as chair, a local councillor, and an impassioned political campaigner. There have been times, and my outburst at the election count was one of them, when I have been overzealous, and on such occasions I have apologised privately, and similarly, I here do so publicly. I am many things, but I am not Superman. I would also like to share my reflections on the work of my predecessors. 6 years ago, before I was elected as a councillor, I sat in the public gallery grumbling at my perceptions of the chair, and I continued to grumble as the years went on. This was naive and ignorant. For no one is placed to criticise a role that they have little or no understanding of. I publicly acknowledge the huge contribution to the role of chair and to the town that all of my predecessors have made. I began my acceptance of the role of chair last year by paying credit to my immediate predecessor, Linda Peary. I learned during the course of the year that this was understated. Linda's example of community engagement as chair served me well, and I believe allowed me to continue to champion the good things that have and continue to happen in our town. So once again, Linda, I thank you and I wish you well. I would also like to thank Linda and councillors Emma Toll and Edgar Stevens for being my escort on a number of occasions during the year and for being charming company. I would like to thank councillors John Klebner, Karen Klebner, Andrew and Shona Johnson for accompanying Wendy and myself to many civic events across town and county. And I would like to thank Councillor Tony Hall and his wife Maureen. Tony has been a great vice chair and attended a good number of events as our representative, for which he deserves all our thanks. I have attended numerous events over the year, and the World War I centenary events will remain among the most poignant. I've also hosted a number of fundraising and awareness-raising events, from onesie walks to the Knitted Poppy Project, from a tremendous quiz night to a delightful civic dinner that showcased the fantastic talent of Harlow's young people. At the Gibbard Garden Party, with Harlow's fantastic brass band, an event which received cross-party support, and where an amazing 80% of those who attended were there for the first time. My theme for the year was legacy, and I hope that the legacy of my support for my chosen charities will be a lasting one. I'm grateful to have had the opportunity to meet and network with a great number of individuals, businesses, charities, churches and community groups. And whilst it's hard to single out one, I have to say that the work of Heart for Harlow, who delivered yet another wonderful festival last weekend, continues to be an aspiration and an inspiration to me and the town. They embody what has become one of my favourite sayings: if opportunity doesn't knock, build a door. In January, I was able to arrange the staging of the production Living with Luke at Burnt Mill School, with generous support from Harlow Health Centres Trust. The proceeds of that event will be shared not only by my three charities, but also Pact for Autism. My appreciation for their work over the year has grown enormously, and I hope No Child Without, the Chocolate Run, and the Gibbard Garden will acknowledge that I have helped to put them, their work, and their organisations on the map in Harlow over the year. I've had a great deal of support from Harlow's community during the course of the year, and in particular from Pastmore's and Burnt Mill Academy. As a consequence, that support and the support of the community, the mayors and chairs, colloquially known as the Chain Gang, across Essex and parts of Hertfordshire, the support of Harlow Council staff and councillors, I'm pleased to announce that my fundraising efforts have amassed a total of £5,055. And I would now like to present a cheque for £1,435 to each of my three charities, and a cheque for £750 to Pact for Autism. Greatest asset is its staff, and I've gained an increased awareness of this over the year. I would like to thank Malcolm Morley and Brian Keane for their guidance on procedural matters, for being able to recite if an amendment to a motion is carried by a majority, it becomes a resolution or a substantive motion, has on occasions not proved quite enough. And for staff whose names are often familiar only to elected members: Joe Maskell, Joel West, Emma Crouch and Lisa Peirce, have all helped me enormously. However, the work of Janet Jackson and Linda Lethari has been truly phenomenal, and as I am sure previous chairs will agree, such support is invaluable. I would like Janet and Linda to receive a small token of appreciation.
So I'm a wife.
People without whom I would have fallen at many hurdles, and on occasions, if I stumbled, picked me up. Two people whose love and support have been a great motivator and who deserve to see just a little bit more of me in the year ahead. My wife, colleagues, we now move on to item 5, presentation of the Civic Awards, and we have 4 awards to present tonight. It falls upon me to present the first 2. Nigel is a Cub Scout leader, but more recently he has held the role of project manager and fundraiser for a new Scout hall. In December 2011, an arson attack completely destroyed the 7th Harlow Scout Hut in Manor Hatch Close. Nigel's background in construction quickly proved to be invaluable, and his advice and guidance to the group has been second to none. Faced with a challenge, rather than give up, Nigel set about leading a fundraising mission to find the £150,000 required for a new building. He persuaded a local architect to design a purpose-built building. He worked hard on site clearance, planning permission and leases, and at the same time keeping 3 sections of Scouts running in different locations. Manor Hall was opened on Sunday the 17th of May, and Nigel has spoken of his commitment to see it used by the community as well as scouting groups. In his regular role as a Cub Scout leader, Nigel organises creative and adventurous weekly programmes along with camps. He is the prime motivator within his group of Beavers, Cubs and Scouts. In addition, Nigel has organised many of the Christmas carol concerts and is always available to lead the district campfire sing-songs, where his personality and humour is an added bonus. Nigel has also demonstrated his cooking ability, helping out at many county camps with the catering team. This award is given in recognition of Nigel's distinguished service and community effort. The second Civic Award goes to Rebecca Moran. Rebecca is a Beaver Scout leader in Harlow and has demonstrated the true meaning of Scouting, the reputation of Scouting and the excellent training their leaders receive. Rebecca is 30 years old and works in Bishop Stortford, and on the 27th of January 2015 she was expecting a normal day at the office, but things took a drastic change. A member of staff found a colleague slumped over his desk. Rebecca was alerted. They both returned to the office where they were able to get their colleague to the floor. Another colleague called the emergency services. Rebecca started to do chest compressions for 40 minutes, and her colleague then took over, while Rebecca directed the response team and ambulance to the incident, and the paramedics then took over. This award is given in recognition of Rebecca's sterling work for the needs of others. Rebecca, would you like to?
There is a need to help connect the community with its local services and the relevant authorities. He was a founding member of the Neighbourhood Action Panel in Churchgate Street and also co-founded the Churchgate Street Residents Association, which has over 84 paid-up members. Paul was its first chairman. Paul has been responsible for setting up an excellent community network on the internet to facilitate communication among Harlow's residents so that issues and concerns can be discussed quickly. Paul is also a member of the Harlow Civic Society and is now its secretary. Paul works diligently for Harlow, facilitating and organising to a high standard. He gives his time working for everybody. He helps to build communities and he gets things done.
Award goes to Kerry Eastman, and
Kerry is the exceptional manager of Streets to Homes, Harlow's homeless charity. During her 5 years in the post, the charity has developed professionally in providing care and support for some of the most vulnerable in our society, whilst retaining a human approach in helping clients. As well as leading and guiding the small number of equally exceptional paid staff, Kerry has organised and motivated an ever-changing group of volunteers, some of whom are former clients wanting to put something back to the organisation that helped them. The standing of Streets to Homes has grown immeasurably under her leadership in dealing with the statutory sector, in fundraising and in partnership with Harlow Council. An inveterate networker, Kerry is the chair of the Harlow Homeless Prevention Partnership. Kerry has led a proactive stance to the changing demands on the service as it moves into more homeless prevention and extending into the severe weather provision. Establishing confidence with private sector landlords has led to fewer evictions. Enabling families to talk to each other has led to fewer young people leaving home. The severe weather provision, whereby shelter is provided to all rough fleecers when the temperature drops below freezing for 3 consecutive nights, is particularly challenging, but particularly rewarding. Kerry has thrown herself into the challenge of running an almost 24-hour service, but it enables closer relationships with some hard-to-reach clients, leading to positive outcomes in terms of treatment and accommodation. In comparison with almost every other town, the performance of Streets to Homes under Kerry's leadership is second to none. Harlow is proud of the determined way she has raised Streets to Homes and Harlow as a centre of excellence. Nowhere else seems to provide that mixture of holistic support and success in getting people off the streets and into homes.
we call for nominations for the appointment of Chairman of the Council for 2015-16. Councillor Andrew Johnson.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to nominate Councillor Tony Hall.
Is that seconded?
Secretary Chair, with great pleasure.
Is that agreed? That's right. By all means, Councillor Johnson.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to stand now to nominate Councillor Tony Hall as the Chairman of the Council for this forthcoming year. Councillor Hall is a member of very long standing in this chamber. In fact, so long standing that he's actually already done the job once before. I'm not sure if that's ever been done before in Harlow. I think maybe in the back of the mists of time, but certainly not recently has there been a chairman for the second time. But I think Tony is fully up to the job. Tony once told me that he's the youngest child of a soldier born not last century, but the century before that. And so perhaps that goes to explain his very strict Victorian-style values. Or perhaps it was the 30-odd years he spent in the police force that explains his strict values. I hope that when he is chairman, he will use the time that he spent in the police force wisely, and will therefore lend a listening, sympathetic ear to all of us in the chamber, rather than just giving us a clip round the ear. I've said that Tony was chairman once before, and I want to just concentrate this evening, Mr. Chairman, on 3 things that he did whilst he was chairman before, because I think the things of your history often point to the direction of your future. When Tony was chairman of this council last time, he did 3 things. He welcomed the councils from across the border in Hertfordshire. Very often in Harlow, we have been accused of being insular, and sometimes within Essex we've been accused of being insular. Tony looked across the border into Hertfordshire and offered the hand of friendship to a number of councils across the border in Hertfordshire, and those members have since joined the chain gang and have become regular features on the chain gang. Tony looked at how the town and the civic element of our council could be connected to the religious element of the town, and through him we inaugurated the very first in modern history town civic service and appointed the first town chaplain, a post that has become iconic within the town, as you mentioned yourself when talking about Robert Finlay and Heart for Harlow, which has developed from that. And indeed the town civic service is now a regular item on any chairman's agenda. The third and final thing that he did whilst he was last in the chair was to grant the freedom of the town, the Essex Yeomanry, and invite them to exercise that freedom with a magnificent march past the Civic Centre. I was very proud that day to be a Harlow councillor, and I was very proud to be from Harlow. I hope that Councillor Tony Hall will provide us with times that we are proud of our town once again, if you accept this nomination.
The nomination for Councillor Hall to be Chair of the Council. Thank you.
Good one, Morley. It's been mine.
I pay tribute to Councillor Ian Beckett for his work during the last year. Being council chairman, as I know, is very demanding, but doubly so when working full-time. So I salute his achievements, not least of which was to fulfil his desire for a legacy to his year of cordiality, good debate, and perhaps even friendship on occasions within this chamber. I hope to maintain that. My chosen charity in 2008, Child Victims of Crime, reflected my 32 years as a police officer. So I felt my chosen charity for the forthcoming year should also reflect my 5 years with the Legal Services Commission, granting contracts to and auditing providers of legal aid. Thus I have taken an interest in the development of Harlow's Citizens Advice Bureau over the past 10 years. It has advanced exponentially and now stands with the best not-for-profit legal advice. It is generally thought that CABs are organised and funded centrally across the country by government or local authorities. Not so. Each stands alone and raises its own funding. Staff are volunteers, but need to be trained. And I am told that as little as £2,000 will train an advisor. So I hope to provide as many additional trained staff as possible. I don't need to tell anyone here that Harlow is going places. We stand as a hub on Britain's Silicon Valley between London and Cambridge at the crossroads of the M11, A414 and A120. It would be a surprise if we weren't going places. We also have a rich heritage of community and culture which stands comparisons with towns and cities dating back centuries, not just 70 years. So I'm fiercely proud of Harlow and of those who came from the ruins of wartime London to start a new life here. They were as much pioneers as any who founded the New World, and their spirit can still be found in every corner of Harlow. So, developers, let's have no more a development north of Epping. We are Harlow and proud of it. So my project for the year ahead will be to promote Harlow far and wide and at every opportunity. If I can, I want to engage with schools to help pupils understand the role of councillors in providing local services and the importance of politics in this. I want to invite the Essex Yeomanry again to exercise their right to march through Harlow. I will be proud to continue with our civic service and will look to offer an opportunity for local talent to showcase at our civic dinner. This list is not exhaustive, so any ideas or suggestions will be most welcome. Council and declaration of acceptance of office. And I call for nominations for the appointment of Vice Chairman of the Council for 2015-16. Councillor Holcott.
I would like to nominate for the Vice Chair's role to Councillor Edna Stevens.
Seconded.
Thank you. Does Councillor Stevens accept the nomination?
Yes, thank you, Chair.
Would you like to come forward and accept your chain of office? Do you wish to say a few words, Councillor?
I think this is also a unique situation of the same Vice Chair and Chair are back together as partners. So it's not really our move coming back again, but I know that Edna will do a fantastic job as Vice Chair. She's greatly enthusiastic about the town. She loves talking to people across Essex and further afield. So I know that you as a team worked very well last time and will do the same thing this time.
Thank you very much. We come to item 8, election of the leader of the council, and I call for nominations for appointment of leader of the council.
I'd move John Clepton, the Chair. I formally second that, Chair.
Thank you very much. Any other nominations? And Councillor John Klempner is elected as leader of the council. Do you wish to say anything, John? No. Item 9 then, appointments to Cabinet, and I'll ask Councillor Klempner to announce or call for his appointments.
Thank you, Chair. My appointment for Deputy Leader and Portfolio Holder for Youth and Community is Councillor Emma Toll. The Portfolio Holder for Governance is Councillor Jean Clark. Portfolio Holder for Resources is Councillor Mike Danvers. Portfolio Holder for Regeneration and Enterprise, Councillor Tony Durkin. Portfolio Holder for Housing is Councillor Rod Truen. And the Portfolio Holder for Environment, Councillor Mark Wilkinson. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. We move to item 10, which is in the agenda, pages 6 to 8, appointments to committees, subcommittees and panels of the council and their chairman and vice chairman.
So move on block, Chair. Just move the stick on. Agree. Yes.
Is that all agreed? Agreed. Thank you. Item 11, which is nominations for appointment of council representatives on outside bodies at page 9 to 10. Is that agreed?
Agreed.
The calendar of meetings, page 11, is that agreed and approved? I have been notified of no matters of urgent business, so the meeting is concluded, but I will I would like to invite all members to join me